Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I want to try some fresh Yucca cordage. Yucca is very strong for the bowstring. I've tried 3 different kinds. There's the floppy kind of leaf, which made good cordage, and this stiffer kind of leaf, and then the leaves that have the fibers just sticking out of the side all up and down the leaves. 3 types of yucca that I've used has been great. This is one of my favorite yucca plants that the road crews took and knocked over, and it's just about dead, so I thought I'd go ahead and get a few leaves off of it, but they're not in too good a shape. And we'll go ahead and use this piece of water oak that we harvested the other day. We'll use this for the bow. And the water oak bow drill set's going to need a little bit of work. Look at this. You see how the divot is drifting to the back and drifting to the right. So I'm going to take and center that notch up some and definitely make the notch deeper, because like I say, the divot drifted back away from the notch. We never want to engage the side walls, and when you get like a 45 degree right here or a pointy spindle, you're really starting to engage the side walls. You always want all your pressure to be on the very bottom. So I may take and flatten that spindle a little bit to try to correct all that. And I'm going to take the diameter of this spindle down. That's going to help keep it from drifting anymore to the back and just blowing out the back. I got so much glare on my side I can't really tell what I'm showing you. But I've got my notch centered back up. It shouldn't really taper in like it does right there, but I think it'll be fine. And now it's not symmetrical. Nothing about my spindle fireboards are completely, absolutely 100% symmetrical, but it's going to work. With the smaller diameter, I don't think it's going to drift to the back anymore. So let's work on the bow some. Once again, this is the handle, and I want the cordage to come down through here, so my slot goes in right here. We'll start it with this, and then we'll widen it out. I like to take all these corners off. Something that's kind of unnecessary, but it's just something I like to do. I want to ease all of these sharp edges. Now, that's going to work fine. Can you see it? That's going to work just fine. Now you can use any scraping device to scrape the pulp away from the fibers on that, but nothing works as good as just a tablespoon. So let me show you the extracting the fibers in one of those leaves only, the complete stripping out of that pulp, and then I'll do the other ones off camera. I strip out half of it, front and back. Then I wrap those fibers around my finger and strip the other half.
There we have it.
That is some strong, strong fiber. I need to scrape that little bit off right there. That is some really strong fiber. And I need to scrape that little bit off right there. Alright, let me get these other ones stripped. Alright. There's our 5 leaves. Alright, this one came out the best. It's the thickest. So let's just take half of its fibers. And you want to come about a third of the way down, because you want one side to always be longer than the other. And twist it up until that loop comes up right there. And there's lots of reverse wrap tutorials online. I have one, but you twist it away from you, you bring that one towards you. Twist it away from you, bring that one towards you. Twist it away, bring the whole bundle towards you. Twist it away, bring the whole bundle towards you. Then when this short side gets to about 3 inches, then we'll go ahead and splice in another piece. Alright. Now this short piece needs to be on this side, and I'll take the other half and take this thin part of the other half, stick it up there and start twisting it in. So we'll go right back to twisting this side. away from me and bring the whole bundle over. Now this leftover end right here, you just mix it in with the rest of it. Just weave it right on in there. Alright, this is what we ended up with before I completely stretch it out and before I burn all of these little hairs off. There's an ugly splice. But I mean, some people would go ahead and take a lighter and burn all of these hairs off of here. Let's wait until we make the friction fire. Then I'll burn all these hairs off, and we'll see how it looks after it is stretched out and been used, and I take all of that off. But I mean, you can cheat, try to make your cordage look better by twisting it up like that and presenting it to the camera, or you can be real for a change and just admit that you have some ugly splices, some thick and thin places on your cordage. All right. Now the way I'll do this is run the cordage through my hand, and then I'll have a knot right here. Kind of a little something to hold on to. I could put a toggle in there. But that double knot will give me something to hold on to. So I run it through my hand and put that knot up between those two fingers. And I will go ahead and cut some of that up. And I'll have a double wrap on the spindle. So you might say, well, that's not enough cordage to get the job done, but it is. That's the way we're going to do it right there. If you can see that. Alright, I'm going to need a deeper divot in here. That should work just fine. Yeah, that's going to be good and slick right there. And the handheld bowstring technique. I did not invent the technique. Gundog 5 showed it to me, and he told me he saw it somewhere else on YouTube. I'm going to take and run the cordage through your hand, put that knot right up in there. Put a double wrap on the spindle. And when you're using this technique, when you're using natural cordage, you have to bow at an angle to keep those wraps from rubbing on themselves. It'll destroy the natural cordage in just a little bit if you don't avoid wrap rub. I call it wrap rub. Have to do it. I take this end here, pull it into my hip to tighten up the cordage. Let's see what we can do with it. Let's see if our cordage is going to hold up. Alright, water oak on water oak. I'm using a water oak bow, fresh yucca cordage, pine needles bird's nest. Now, we did stop it from drifting to the back. The notch is still centered. As you can see, there's plenty more embers left in that fireboard, but I will cut the point off of that spindle before I use it one more time. And we got a good hot ember. It's just sitting there like hardwoods do and coalescing, getting hotter and hotter, tighter and tighter, which is exactly what you want. So when I get the flames, we'll take our cordage and burn off all of those hairs. Terrible pine needles. All right. I tried 3 times. Got an ember 3 times, but the dust was already used up. Although there was an ember in it, what was left to feed that ember was already used up, like it was burned up. So, that's no fault of the Yucca cordage. Yucca cordage still doing a good job. Since we can't get this to produce a good hot ember, I have a set that will. This is our river birch fireboard with a privet spindle. Now let's see if we can get a fire out of this deal. Yeah, we got an ember that time. An ember that's going to last is what I mean. An ember that's going to be able to impart some heat. And the reason it popped out is because the point wore off of the bearing block end. That's why the whole thing flew apart. Look at that thing burn. After you get your flames, then you can burn off all of these hairs. This will not damage the cordage. Might turn it brown a little bit, but it is not damaging it. All right, let me show you the cordage now. That yucca cordage is amazing. It's so strong. All right, y'all. I appreciate you joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.